Information without emotion is not retainable. Our fans are our secret sauce, and that's one of the reasons why I think we're so successful. Challenge the status quo. Look at things differently.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
What's up, Believe Nation? It's Evan. I believe in you, and this channel is designed to be a part of your daily success routine. So let's get your motivation to a 10 and get you believing in you. Grab a snack and chew on today's lessons from a woman who started her WWE career as a model to rising up through the ranks to becoming Chief Brand Officer and one of the most powerful businesswomen in the world. She's Stephanie McMahon, and here's my take on her top 10 rules of success. Let's kick it off with rule number 1, stand out with your story.
Tony Robbins has a quote that information without emotion is not retainable. And I think that that's an important point for any brand trying to make a connection out there. There's a proliferation of products and services. So why should audiences or consumers care about your product? Why? Can you answer that question in your marketing and your messaging? And the single best way to relate to an audience, to relate to a person, is through storytelling, because stories are relatable. So if you can position your brand in that way, I mean, I remember a commercial since I was a little girl. It was a Polaroid commercial of this little daughter dancing on her dad's feet. And it goes through as she gets older, you know, that same dance. And then suddenly she's a bride dancing on her dad's feet. And I so resonated with that commercial because it spoke to me. You know, it was family. And I think that that's one of the most important pieces of your communication is to relate to your audience. Give them a reason to care.
Rule number 2, learn from failures.
My father is, he grew up in abject poverty. He had no running water. He always talks about how the outhouse in North Carolina, he didn't know if it was worse in the winter or the summer, and you can use your own imagination for why that may be. And he said then he moved uptown into an 8-foot wide trailer because it did have running water and plumbing and all that good stuff. My dad really lived the American dream, and coming from humble beginnings to creating a global empire because of his vision and because of his drive and never giving up and accepting, mistakes and failures and learning from them. I think that is a really big part of growth. And oftentimes people see it as setbacks, and that's not what it is. You have to learn. It's a learning opportunity. Why did it fail? What went wrong? What could I have done differently? And then apply that knowledge. My dad also always says, intelligence is the application of knowledge. And I completely agree with that.
Rule number 3, listen to fans.
You think with a massive company like that, so 12 billion views online, that you could...
On YouTube alone.
On YouTube alone,
yep.
Yeah. That you could sit back and think this is so successful, we don't need to worry too much about this, but you really do listen to the fans.
Yes, actually, I think that's our secret sauce. When you think about Monday Night Raw, imagine all of those fans and all of those families in the arena, and then imagine an empty arena, right? Our show would be pretty boring. It would lack the energy. It would lack the excitement. Our fans are our secret sauce, and that's one of the reasons why I think we're so successful on social media.
Rule number 4, take calculated risks.
WrestleMania is the event my father created and mortgaged everything he owned and my mom owned to make it happen. WrestleMania 1.
Was that a turning point in the company, by the way?
Absolutely. Okay. And it was available on closed circuit television, which ultimately pioneered the whole pay-per-view industry.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. And then we were one of the first to launch our OTT direct-to-consumer platform behind Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah.
So really, my father really is a visionary, and in terms of entrepreneurship, his message is always to take risks, but take calculated risks.
Rule number 5, challenge the status quo.
What is the best advice you've ever gotten professionally?
Professionally, I've gotten so much good advice. I think one of my father, who is also the chairman and CEO of WWE, Vince McMahon, his mantra really is to treat each day like it's the first day on the job. Challenge the status quo. Look at things differently. come in with a fresh mind and a fresh perspective as much as you possibly can. And that has been very valuable advice. A lot of times we get stuck or mired down in the way we think things are supposed to be done. And I think especially in today's day and age, there are so many fresh, young, creative minds coming from all over the place. And they ask a simple question and you go, oh yeah, why don't we do it that way? That's so much better.
Rule number 6, prioritize.
You are a mom.
I am.
You have 3 young daughters, right? And you're a businesswoman and you're a character on the show. How do you have strategies you use to navigate all of this stuff? Plus we're in California now, but I know you're back east too. So there's just what I call a big life, right?
It's a big life.
So how do you navigate all of that?
It's challenging, right? But I think it is for anybody. I think it is for women who, stay at home or dads that stay at home. When you couple that with traveling and that kind of thing, maybe that's what makes it different. But life is hard for everybody, right? And different aspects. And I think the best strategy really is to prioritize, right? Because my mom taught me a long time ago that pendulum is never going to be in the middle.
I agree with that.
It's always swinging.
Yes.
So it's not a balance as you would think. It is a balance in essence, but it's always shifting.
It's never balanced.
It's never balanced. It's never even. And I just do everything I can, me and my husband both do, to maximize our time with our kids, to prioritize each other as well. We went on a date the other night, and unfortunately, it was like the first date night we've had in 4 months.
Oh boy.
Since before the holidays.
Wow.
So it was
special night, but
longer
too
than 4
infrequent.
months. Yeah. Which we need to do a better job of that. But being there for our kids, putting them down at night, taking them to school in the morning. Taking them to school is one of my favorite things to do. The only thing that tops it is picking them up from school.
Seriously? Wow.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll leave work just to go pick them up.
Just for that experience?
Just for that. And they love it.
Rule number 7, have a mission.
Our mission is to put smiles on people's faces the world over. And whether we do that through our entertainment content, if I do that, for example, from the ring, when I see the smiles on people's faces, or when you meet somebody in an airport and they tell you a story about, oh, I remember when this happened, and it's a smile from ear to ear. Or when we have the opportunity to give back, which is a huge part of our business and something that is a core value for WWE. And you have the chance to meet these children who often are very underprivileged and see the looks on their faces and the smiles that you bring and the hugs that you get. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than that. So it's such a privilege to represent this brand and to be a part of WWE, especially as Chief Brand Officer, and the chance to really tell our stories and spread awareness. And, that's what WWE is.
Rule number 8, believe in yourself.
What do you know now that you wish you could have told your younger self?
I think to believe in myself more, to be confident, and to know my own self-worth. That's the advice that I try to give my daughters as well. I have 3 daughters, ages 9, 7, and 5. And, I think that women in general, and probably men too, we go through life with a lot of insecurity, and that's where peer pressure falls in and all of that good stuff. So I think that advice I would want to give my younger self is just believe in yourself.
Rule number 9, find your passion.
When you're the 4th generation, as we said there in your intro, of wrestling promoter, was there any doubt in your mind that you were going to go into the family business?
Actually, no, it's what I've always wanted to do. I've always been a fan of wrestling and WWE in particular, and especially growing up watching my father, who was the chairman, CEO, and also a commentator on the show. And I was just enthralled, business conversation at the dinner table and listening to the stories that were getting built and the characters and meeting them and seeing them. Actually, my first WWE live event, I was about 3 years old, and I went walking backstage, and I'll never forget it. All of a sudden, these kids came running at me, screaming, terrified. And I couldn't imagine what was happening. My parents were down the hallway, and then here comes George the Animal Steele, who had basically so much hair on his back it was like fur, and his tongue was green, and he was in character, lumbering towards me. And I then screamed at the top of my lungs and virtually ran up my father's leg and buried my head in his neck. Oh, God. But I noticed he was laughing. My father, the great defender. And then he introduced me to George the Animal Steele, who is also known as Jim Myers, a school teacher. And that was my first inkling into the world of WWE.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is have fun.
What's it like playing a character that's kind of like a villain all the time? What
Kind
is it
of?
Yeah, well, it is. She is a villain, right? But
I mean,
what's
our audience wanted me to be a villain from day one.
They did,
They did not like the super sweet, vanilla, little daddy's girl. It never worked.
Is it weird for you to do that? Or
No, it's so much fun. I love being the heel. I love it. I love interacting with our audience and them getting me and me getting them. I mean, that's what it's all about, you know? And, you know, to me, it's way more interesting and fun to be the bad guy.
Does it change your energy? I'm just curious because I don't get to ever do that. Is your energy change like when you're done? Are you still like kind of that person for an hour afterwards, or like you're just done?
No, I can go in and out.
You can?
Yeah, well, I've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, sure.
A really long time. But basically, you know, unfortunately, there's a lot of stereotypes in this world, right? I just play in to the stereotype.
Right.
That's all I do.
Right.
Right? And have fun.
Yes.
I mean, and that's when I think we're at our best in our business, is when we're having fun, because our audience can feel it. When you talk about the energy, there is no greater energy on earth than interacting with a live crowd of hundreds of thousands of people. Like, it is...
That's just got to be a rush.
It is amazing. Amazing.
Now, I've got a special bonus clip from Stephanie on how to accomplish goals that I think you're going to really enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Time to move from watching another video to actually taking action in your business or in your life. And if you're feeling bold, leave your replies in the comments below. Here we go. Question number 1. What is your mission? Number 2, what status quo are you challenging? And number 3, what calculated risk do you need to take?
I'm watching your social media. You're working at like midnight. So,
that's the only time we have to train. People often ask, like, is there some type of biological, you know, like, no, there's no advantage. I don't recommend it.
But
sleep is important.
Guys, just so you know, this woman is crazy. Just, I mean, we're talking about
crazy alone.
We're talking about. I mean, a totally devoted mother. You can hear how much she talks about her husband, so you're getting a sense of the relationship there. This massive enterprise of WWE, and then fitness, right? Because she's a character on the show too. And I'm telling you, if you go to her Instagram, you're going to see midnight workouts. And so,
but even if I wasn't a character, I'd train at midnight.
Why?
Because it's a part of what makes me me. I feel good about myself when I train. I think that the more in shape you are, the more you can do.
So do I.
It just in general, I think it clears your mind. Training is my church, you know. And I think also this is just, I don't know, I think human nature. I think it is important to accomplish goals.
So do I.
Right? I think you feel good about yourself. It builds confidence when you set goals and you can achieve them. And even though it's a set, it's a rep, it's whatever it is, whatever that goal is that night, no matter how simple it might be, I'm killing my goals.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And pushing myself past where I think I can go. And I love that. Training is as much a mental challenge as it is a physical one.
Totally agree with
you know, and I love that feeling.
So let me give you the one-word secret to happiness. One word. This is all you need to be happy.
The most important word ever.
If you had to think of one word that's most important to you, or that sums you up, or that would be kind of like a little beacon.
If you like this video and want to learn how to think big like her father, Vince McMahon, check out the video next to me. I think you're going to enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
My dad was talking about selling out, and that frightened me because I didn't know if I'd be a part